Standing at her back door, Monica wondered what had happened over the past few months. She was trying her best, but she just couldn't put two and two together. She took small, hesitant steps through the path that led to a wooded area. During her walk, her thoughts wandered to what she was about to discover. Her heart was about to break. A slow stream of tears flowed down her face as her heart raced. Even though she knew who lived here, she still needed to see for herself whether everything she suspected was true. It would only take a few more steps for her to discover the truth. Since Anthony, her husband, had lied to her, Monica questioned everything she thought she knew. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our upcoming stories. It had been 6 years since Monica Hill and Anthony Hill had gotten married. Their mutual friends introduced them and they hit it off immediately. The moment Monica met Anthony, she was charmed. Anthony proposed after just 6 months of dating. Initially, Monica was startled by how quickly everything was moving. In spite of that, she accepted Anthony's ring immediately after he pledged his undying love. They had a fairy tale wedding. There was no expense spared by Anthony. Anthony paid for whatever Monica wanted. It was important to him that his bride was happy. There were 200 guests at Monica's wedding, but only 20 of her closest family and friends attended. It wasn't like she knew that many people to begin with. Anthony's family and friends made up the rest of the group. Most of them Monica had never met, and she felt a little uncomfortable that there were people at her wedding she didn't even know. She enjoyed the wedding, and it was a success in the end. However, the same could not be said about their marriage. Already early on, cracks began to appear. During the first 3 months of the marriage, everything was fine. Anthony treated Monica to lavish dinners and getaways as a romantic gesture. After that, Monica noticed that her husband's behavior had changed significantly. Monica had to compete with his work and friends to see him as he became more distant. While at home, he was always busy doing chores in their backyard. She didn't want to appear desperate, but she just wanted to spend time with her husband. Having been married for months, she expected that they would be discussing children soon. It was Monica's wish, and she was saddened that Anthony didn't even mention it. On days when he was toiling in the backyard, she just stared at him through the window. He appeared more interested in what he was doing than in her, even though she had no idea what he was doing. Monica would no longer tolerate it. That night, she promised to talk to him about her loneliness and concerns. With candles and soft music, she prepared a romantic dinner. What else would help her entice him back to her if this didn't work? The evening had been set. While waiting for her husband to arrive home from work, Monica donned her favorite red dress and highest heels. It was the first time she felt so nervous. In spite of Monica's plans, the dinner didn't turn out as she had hoped. Her concerns were dismissed by Anthony, who was distant. "I'm busy, and I just don't think we should be worrying about having kids right now. I've got a lot on my plate at work," he told her. It was that night that Monica secretly wept herself to sleep. She felt alienated by her husband. She also began speculating that it wasn't only work that was keeping him occupied. Anthony was very active on social media, and as Monica scrolled through his various accounts, he could be seen partying up a storm with his friends, and all without her. He posed with work colleagues at parties that she wasn't even invited to as his plus one. Monica was fuming. How could her husband do this to her? Not only was he completely ignoring her, but he was acting like he was a bachelor. In one of the photos, she could clearly see that he wasn't even wearing his wedding ring. What exactly was going on? Monica would soon find out the ugly truth. As weeks turned into months, Monica's suspicions grew. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong with her marriage. The once passionate love they shared seemed to have dwindled into mere coexistence. One evening, as Anthony rushed off to another work-related event, Monica decided to confide in her neighbor, Emma, who lived on the other side of their house. Emma had always been friendly and approachable, and Monica hoped she might have some insights. Pouring her heart out to Emma, Monica shared her fears and frustrations about her husband's distant behavior. Emma listened empathetically, her face showing a mix of sympathy and concern. Monica felt that she could discuss anything with Emma, but she knew something Monica didn't. "I don't want to add to your worries, Monica, but I think you should know something," Emma finally said hesitatingly. "I've seen Anthony walk through the back of the house a few times. I don't know where he goes." Monica's heart skipped a beat. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her mind raced with questions, but she needed to know the truth. "What do you mean, Emma?" Monica asked, her voice trembling. Emma took a deep breath before continuing. "I've seen him going into that hidden path behind your house. I think it leads into the woods, but I'm not sure why he would go there so often. It's always when you're at work or otherwise occupied. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it seems suspicious." Monica's pulse quickened. Why was Anthony walking all alone into the wooded area behind their house? She knew he wasn't the outdoorsy type. Was he hiding something from her? Maybe he had secretly taken up hiking. Determined to uncover the truth, Monica thanked Emma for her honesty and decided to investigate further. She couldn't ignore the nagging suspicion any longer. Emma specifically said that she saw him walk there at night as well. What was her husband up to? She couldn't ignore the nagging suspicion any longer. That night, she pretended to go to bed early but waited patiently for Anthony to make his move. There was no doubt that he had something planned. He was very restless during dinner, and when Monica asked him about it, he brushed it off. Hours passed, and Monica heard the front door quietly click shut. Anthony thought she was asleep, but she was wide awake, fueled by a mix of fear and anger. Slipping out of bed, she made her way to the back door. Monica opened the back door and followed the same hidden path she had seen Anthony take. She could even smell the remnants of his cologne as she quietly walked on the path. She could see his shadow still walking, and she ducked down when he turned around. As she lay in the grass, Monica quickly bobbed her head up just in time to see Anthony go into a house. She had forgotten that someone had lived so deeply in the wooded area. What she saw next sent shockwaves through her entire being. There, in the soft glow of the moon, she saw Anthony and a woman locked in an intimate embrace. Their faces were inches apart, and it was clear that this was what she had feared all along. Monica gasped, unable to believe her eyes. She had stumbled upon a secret affair, one that had been unfolding right under her nose. Tears welled up in her eyes as she watched her husband betray her trust. Monica's heartache was immeasurable as she continued to watch the scene unfold before her. The woman in Anthony's arms had her fingers gently running through his hair, and their lips were so close that it was undeniable they were sharing an illicit kiss. She wanted to scream, to confront them both, but she held herself back. She needed concrete evidence, undeniable proof of her husband's infidelity, to confront him with. As Monica continued to watch in stunned silence, she noticed the woman's familiar features. It was their neighbor, Lisa. Lisa was recently widowed, and Monica had completely forgotten to check in on her since her husband passed away. But it seemed like her husband Anthony was doing enough of that for the both of them. Monica's anger mixed with sadness, creating a storm of emotions within her. She had trusted both Anthony and Lisa, and now they were betraying her in the worst possible way. Her marriage was crumbling, and she felt a sense of betrayal that cut deeper than anything she had ever experienced. She thought she knew who Anthony was, but she was terribly mistaken. After a few more minutes of watching the heartbreaking scene, Monica quietly retreated, careful not to make a sound. She needed time to think, to plan her next move. Confronting Anthony was inevitable, but she wanted to do it with undeniable evidence in her possession. Over the next few days, Monica became a detective in her own life. She meticulously collected evidence of Anthony's affair, text messages, photos, and even recorded conversations that proved his involvement with Lisa. Meanwhile, Monica's demeanor changed. She became distant and withdrawn, avoiding Anthony as much as possible. He sensed something was amiss but couldn't put his finger on it. One evening, when Anthony was out at another supposed work event, Monica decided it was time to confront him. She had enough evidence to shatter his denials and lies. She called Lisa, asking her to meet at their house. When Lisa arrived, Monica presented her with the damning evidence of the affair. Lisa's face turned pale and she stammered, attempting to explain herself. It was a chaotic and emotional confrontation, filled with anger, hurt, and accusations. Soon after, Anthony returned home to find both women waiting for him. The confrontation that ensued was explosive. Monica, with tears streaming down her face, confronted her husband with the irrefutable evidence of his betrayal. Their marriage, once filled with love and hope, was now reduced to a battlefield of shattered trust and broken promises. Anthony couldn't deny the truth any longer. He confessed to the affair with Lisa, his voice filled with remorse and regret. He tried to explain how it had started innocently as he comforted their grieving neighbor, but it had spiraled into something more. Monica was devastated, feeling a mixture of anger and sadness. She realized that her fairy tale marriage had crumbled into a nightmare. With a heavy heart, she told Anthony that their relationship had come to an end. In the weeks that followed, Monica and Anthony went through a painful divorce process. It was emotionally taxing, but Monica knew it was the right decision. She deserved better than a husband who had betrayed her trust so deeply. As the divorce was finalized, Monica began to rebuild her life. She reconnected with old friends, pursued her own interests, and found a renewed sense of self-worth. She realized that she deserved happiness and would no longer settle for anything less. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable tale like this one.